Before you skip this video, I want you to stop for a moment, because there may be a decision you're thinking about making right now, and deep down, you already know you're not thinking clearly. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're disappointed. Maybe you've prayed about the same situation over and over, and nothing seems to change. You've asked God for an answer. You've asked Him for a breakthrough. You've asked Him to change your situation. But instead of getting better, it feels like everything is getting harder. And now you're thinking, maybe I should just give up. Maybe you want to walk away from something you once prayed for. Maybe you want to stop believing. Maybe you want to make a decision that you believe will finally end the pain. But please, don't make a permanent decision because of temporary pain. Pain can make you believe that tomorrow will look exactly like today. But it won't. The way you feel right now is real. But it doesn't mean your current situation is permanent. You may not understand what God is doing. You may not see a way forward. But not seeing the way doesn't mean there isn't one. Proverbs 3 verse 5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." You don't have to understand everything tonight. You just need enough faith to take the next step. So before you make that decision, pause, pray, breathe, and give yourself time. Because sometimes the decision you almost made in your darkest moment is the decision you would have regretted the most. Maybe the hardest part of your situation isn't what happened. Maybe it's that you prayed, and God didn't answer the way you wanted. You trusted Him. You believed. You waited. And still, the door stayed closed. And now there's a thought inside you saying, what's the point of praying anymore? But listen carefully. Don't confuse God's silence with God's absence. There are seasons when you won't understand what God is doing. There are moments when you may feel like your prayers are going nowhere. But faith isn't only trusting God when everything makes sense. Faith is also trusting Him when you don't have the explanation. Think about a child walking beside a parent. The child may not understand where they're going. They may not understand why they can't take a certain road. They may not understand why the parent says, "Not that way. Come this way." But the parent can see things the child cannot. And sometimes that's what trusting God looks like. You may see a closed door. God may see protection. You may see a delay. God may see preparation. You may see disappointment. God may see redirection. That doesn't mean every painful thing has an easy explanation. And it doesn't mean you should pretend everything is okay. You could be hurt and still have faith. You can cry and still pray. You can have questions and still trust God. So don't walk away from God simply because you don't understand this season. Bring your questions to Him. Bring your disappointment. Bring your tears. You don't have to hide any of it. Just don't stop talking to the one who already knows your heart. Maybe someone disappointed you. Maybe your relationship ended. Maybe an opportunity disappeared. Maybe you lost something you thought was meant for you. And now you're telling yourself, nothing ever works out for me. Be careful with that thought, because one painful chapter is not the whole story. One rejection doesn't mean you'll always be rejected. One failed relationship doesn't mean you'll never experience love again. One financial struggle doesn't mean you'll always struggle. One unanswered prayer doesn't mean God has abandoned you. And one bad season doesn't mean you have a bad future. Sometimes when we're hurting, we start making predictions based on our pain. We say, this will never change. I'll always be alone. Nothing good is going to happen. God isn't listening, but you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that's exactly why you shouldn't give up today. Your current circumstances are not qualified to tell you what your entire future will look like. Isaiah 43 verse 19 says, "See, I'm doing a new thing. God can bring new beginnings into places that look completely finished. He can bring hope into places where you thought there was none. He can open doors you never expected. So don't let one disappointment convince you that your life is over. Don't let one person's rejection make you reject yourself. Don't let one closed door make you stop hoping. And don't let today's pain steal tomorrow's hope. Maybe you don't need to figure out your entire future today. Maybe you just need to get through this chapter with your faith still alive. Take the next step, then another, and another. You don't have to see the entire road. You just have to trust God enough to keep walking. When people are hurting, they often disappear. They stop talking. They stop answering messages. They stop asking for help. They smile around people and then struggle alone when nobody is watching. Maybe that's you. Maybe you've convinced yourself nobody would understand anyway. But please, don't carry everything by yourself. God can work through people too. Sometimes the answer to a prayer doesn't arrive as a miracle in the sky. Sometimes it arrives as a person who calls you at the right moment, a friend who listens, a family member who checks on you, a pastor who gives you wise counsel, someone who simply sits beside you and says, "You don't have to go through this alone." Don't be afraid to reach out. Choose people who genuinely care about you, people who encourage you toward what is good, people who remind you of your faith instead of feeding your fear, because isolation can make a small problem feel enormous. When you're alone with your thoughts for too long, fear starts speaking louder. So talk to someone, pray with someone, ask for help when you need it, and most importantly, keep bringing your heart before God. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 9 reminds us, "Two are better than one. You were never designed to carry every burden alone." So if you've been withdrawing from everyone, maybe today is the day you send one message. Just say, "Can we talk? I'm going through something." You don't need a perfect explanation. You just need to open the door. Sometimes healing begins when you finally stop pretending that you're okay. And now, maybe this is the part you needed to hear. If you've been thinking about giving up, don't give up yet. Not tonight. Not because you're exhausted. Not because the answer hasn't come. Not because one door closed. Not because someone walked away. Not because your life doesn't look the way you imagined. You don't know what God may still do with your story. And you don't know what can change in the next chapter. Maybe the thing you've been praying for will happen differently than you expected. Maybe God will change the situation. Maybe He will change you through the situation. Maybe He will lead you somewhere completely different. But whatever happens, don't let pain make the decision for you. Give God your next step. Give Him your uncertainty. Give Him your disappointment. And say, "Lord, I don't understand this, but I choose to trust you." That's faith. Not pretending everything is perfect. Not pretending you don't hurt, but choosing not to give up, even when you don't have all the answers. So if you're watching this right now, and you've been carrying something silently, I want you to pray with me. Lord, you know what I'm going through. You know the pain I haven't told anyone about. You know the decisions I'm struggling with. Please give me wisdom. Give me patience. Give me strength. Help me not to make a decision out of fear, anger, or pain. If I need to wait, give me patience. If I need to let go, give me courage. If I need to keep going, give me strength. And above everything, help me trust you. Amen. And remember this. You don't have to figure everything out today. You don't have to know exactly what tomorrow will bring. Just don't give up on your life. Because of one painful chapter, keep praying, keep believing, keep walking. And when you look back one day, you may realize that the moment you almost gave up was the moment you needed to keep going the most. If this message was for you, comment. I will keep trusting God. Folded hands,